Okay, in this video here, I'm going to show you very simple basics. This is not in a lot of detail, but just general basics of 2-point perspective. You know, everything is not always flat where you're looking at it straight, like you're standing right in front of a building. Sometimes you're looking down a street and those buildings look like they're getting smaller and smaller. Well, that's perspective. And you want to have some general knowledge of perspective, like that square is now turned into a three-dimensional rectangle, and that circle a three-dimensional cube, and that triangle a three-dimensional, I must say, a three-dimensional triangle shape. Well, if I want to do, let's say, a house in 2-point perspective, let me give me my horizon line, or that's my eye level line. And so I've drawn a dot on one side and a dot on the other side. That's my 2 points, 2-point perspective or 2-dot perspective. And so from there, the one line I drew vertically is is the corner of the building. And so now the two triangles you see on each side that I made with those lines, can be the sides of the building. That's one side with a line. That's the other side. So now I got my two sides to the building. Now basically, after I put this roof on here, all of the lines are going to pretty much either be going from one dot or the other dot. So as you watch me build this up, well, all the lines except for the vertical ones. The vertical ones are straight up and down. So we got a door. Those are straight up and down. But the top of that door, just like that line goes to the point, or the top of that door, if you had a ruler, it would go to the point. So now I'll take a little time and I'll make it actually look like you can walk inside of there. Kind of have the door open, like maybe a barn door or something. And the same thing applies over here. Vertical for the sides of the windows, but the top of the window, that line would go to that point over there, and the bottom would go to that point. And for another window, same thing. Top and bottom would go to the point. Yeah, so as you see on each side. And so in general, that's 2-point perspective. And I can continue this thing on and work in a sidewalk, for example. Let's put a sidewalk in there. Same thing applies. Those points dictate where all the lines go. So now if I was to put those lines in the bricks, in the concrete, you see from one side they come from one point, and from that side they come from the opposite point. Now what about a street? Put a street in there and make like a 4 corners. So there could actually be a house on each corner. I'm not going to take the time to do that, but I just want you to see that even here, you would still be using those same 2 dots for all of the lines. They all come from one point or the other. 2-point perspective can seem to be complicated, but you just have to remember that this line goes somewhere, and it's either from this line, this dot, or it's from that dot. So you want to keep everything in perspective. Use those 2 dots and make all your lines go from there and to there.